Hey, I'm Courtney Waterman, your tutor. Lover of anime, manga, and math. And you just tuned into another session of Tutor Me Sempai. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're jumping into an 11th grade topic, angle, sum, and difference identities. Now, if you're new to my channel, I'll be putting time codes in for this video in the description box below, so use that to skip ahead to whatever part of the video you think is most interesting. As always, if you have any questions about what we see today or even your own homework, you can always put in the comment box below or visit my Facebook page at Tutor Me Sempai and tell me all about it there. At the end of this video, I'll be linking my 11th grade playlist, in which I cover a lot more topics. So if you're interested in that, make sure you stay tuned. This video will have 2 parts, so leave a like, smash subscribe, and let's get started. So today, I'm going to be introducing you to the angle, sum, and difference identities for sine, cosine, and tangent. Now, I have a very nice way that I remember sine and cosine, but there are plenty of other ways you can remember these identities. I don't really have something for tangent, but I'll at least show you what it is so that we can revisit that later, and I can show you how you can derive tangent using these 4 I'm about to show you here. Now, like I said, I have a very nice way that helps me remember these identities here. And the main thing it boils down to is using patterns. Now, I like using patterns because patterns are easy for me to remember without me having to remember specific identities. And I can oftentimes rebuild my pattern to create my identities that I need. And the pattern that I have for these identities stems from a game I used to play way back in the day. So the first thing I'm going to do for these identities is draw 5 lines for each one in the following way. And you'll repeat this for each one of these. So now I'm going to preserve this middle one for our sign, our pluses and our minuses. And the other 4 are going to be a combination of our trig functions. And since we're dealing with sine and cosine will make appearances here. Now notice we have sine and cosine of A's and B's here. So I'm going to just take my time and just put my A's here, in this fashion here. This is a pattern. So A's first, B's second, right? A's first, B's second. And we're going to skip the middle one because that has your pluses and your minuses. And we're going to repeat A's first, right? And of course, B's second. B's second. Now, the next thing we need to do is figure out where our sines and our cosines go. Now, you may be tempted to start with this A column here because it's our first one. But I personally like to start with the B columns. And the reason being is because it follows the same logic that I always use on this channel when you're dealing with the unit circle. On our unit circle, we know that the points on our unit circle, let's say this 1, 0 and this 0, 1, correspond to sine and cosine. However, there's a nice easy way that I use to remember which one goes with which. And that's if X is before Y in your alphabet and in your point, well, C is going to be before S in your alphabet and in your point. So C is going to correspond to the X component. S is going to correspond to the Y component. That's something I always like to say on this channel when you're trying to remember which trig function goes with which coordinate. But that same logic applies to our B columns. C is going to come before S. So cosine is going to come first. So these are going to be my cosines all the way down. And it's going to come before our S, which is sines, which you could put here. Sines all the way down. My nice pattern. So now we've handled our B's. Now we can move on to the A's. Now the A, this one is going to be the easiest A because it's quite literally a mirror of what's on this side of the equal sign. So whatever you have on this side of the equal sign, you're going to replicate here. So this is a sine, so you put a sine. This is a sine, so you put a sine. Here's a cosine, here's a cosine. Now, keeping up the idea of patterns here, notice that we have 2 sines, 1 cosine, 2 sines, 1 cosine. Well, if we already have 2 sines and we only have 1 cosine, let's keep things balanced. Let's put another cosine here to fill in our missing cosine. Now we have 2 and 2. How about here? We have 2 cosines and 1 sine. 2 cosines and 1 sine. Well, let's fill in a missing sine now to make things balance. math is about balance, right? Make sure they're balanced. So cosines, sines. There's two of each. Cosines and sines, cosines and sines. There's two of each one. Now we're almost done. We need to go back and figure out what sign, plus or minus, is going to go in our middle slot that we preserved for it. Now, this is going to be pretty simple as well. And I want you to first look at the first letter of your trig function. S and C. Well, S is going to be same, and C is going to be contrary. So whenever you have this S, your sine function, you're going to have the same exact sign that you have inside your parentheses here. Whenever you have a C, your cosine function, you're going to have the sign that's contrary to whatever's inside these parentheses here. So same sign, S for same, means you're going to put a plus here. S for same means you put a minus here. Your C here for contrary means you're going to put a minus here. And your C for contrary means you put a plus here. And this is going to be your angle, sum, and difference identities for sine and cosine. Now, like I said, there are plenty of ways you can remember this. I like building upon this pattern because I don't need to remember the specific identity. I just need to know a few things to help me build them all. But you may look at this and see that, well, for cosines, you're always going to pair your cosines together and your sines together, whereas for sines, you're always going to alternate them. That's something that, if it stands out to you, use that. When it comes to your signs, your pluses and your minuses, some people even have special ways of writing a general formula so you can help yourself remember it. So let's take a look at this first one. So instead of having the specific formula here, where you just have that plus there, they would do something like this. Sine of A plus or minus B. And for this, you would also have the same plus or minus. Now you don't have to necessarily write the second one because it's already taken into account. Notice that the sines and the cosines don't change. The only thing that flips would be the sign here. So you can actually write this one general formula for both of these. And the same thing for cosine. Instead of having just this cosine of A plus B, they can do cosine of A plus or minus B. However, instead of having plus or minus, they would do minus plus, because remember, it's opposite. So you're reading it across, the first one to the first one, the second one to the second one, first one to the first one, second one to the second one. So whenever you have that plus, you have the minus plus. The key is to find the best thing to help you remember what you need to remember. So now that we've handled sine and cosine, let's move on to our tangent. Now, like I said, I don't really have a nice easy way for tangent, so I'm just going to introduce the identities. In another video, I will once again show you how you can create these identities using the first four identities I showed you previously. But there is a little bit of a pattern when it comes to your signs that you can take advantage of. Now, this is a tangent function, so we're going to have a bunch of tangents here. So the first thing we got to do is we're going to notice that we have a bar here, and this is not necessarily one long thing we're writing, but a fraction. So we're going to have a numerator and a denominator. And in our numerator, we have two tangents. We have a tangent of A, and we have a tangent of B. And we're going to have two tangents in the denominator as well. Tangent of A and a tangent of B. Now we have some signs and stuff we have to add here. For example, we have a 1 in the denominator and we have a minus here, and we're going to combine that one with a plus. Now the pattern you see here is whenever we have that plus, we have a plus here, and we're going to do the opposite in the denominator. So the same sign is going to be across the tops, but the opposite sign is going to be in the bottom. And the overall structure is going to be the same, except you swap your signs for your A minus B. So you're going to have that same tangent of A, tangent of B. You're still going to have the same tangent of A down here, and a tangent of B down here. And you're going to have that 1. However, your minus is going to be up top, and your plus is going to be down here now. Now, although I might not have something that's easy for you to remember for this, you may have run into something that helps you remember tangents. If you do, I would love to hear about it in the comment box below. So I hope you were able to follow in today's video, and if you find that patterns help you remember your identities better, then make a game of it, have fun, do whatever it takes, just make sure that it sticks. However, if you have any questions about what you saw today, or even your own homework, You can always put it in the comment box below, or visit my Facebook page at Tutor Me Sempai and tell me all about it there. If you hadn't done so already, remember to leave a like. It surely helps the channel by letting YouTube know that you found the video helpful. And if you found the video helpful, so can someone else. So leave a like, hit the notification bell, smash the subscribe button, and share this video with a friend. Well, that's all the time I have for today. I really hope this helped your homework, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. I'm Courtney, this is your playlist, and this has been another session of Tutor Me Senpai.